It was an unusually crisp autumn morning in the city, the kind that made people walk a little faster and clutch their coffee cups a little tighter. The streets were alive with the usual rhythm, cars honking impatiently, shopkeepers setting out displays, and children rushing toward the grand gates of Westbrook Academy, one of the most prestigious schools in the state. Among the crowd of laughing children and watchful parents, a sleek black limousine pulled up to the curb. Inside sat Alexander Reed, a man whose name was synonymous with success. He was the founder and CEO of a global tech empire, a man who could summon a boardroom of the world's most powerful executives with a single phone call. But today, he was here for something far more ordinary, to deliver a guest lecture at the Academy's annual Career Day. His time was meticulously scheduled, yet he had agreed to this request from the school's principal as a gesture of goodwill. As Alexander stepped out of the car, sharply dressed in a tailored charcoal suit, he immediately drew attention. Parents whispered, students stared. But he didn't notice the admiration or curiosity. His eyes were drawn to a small scene playing out just a few yards away. Near the steps leading into the school, a little girl stood frozen, her cheeks flushed, her head bowed. Around her, 3 other children giggled, pointing at her feet. Her shoelaces dangled untied, frayed at the ends, the sneakers worn thin as though they had already survived more than one childhood. The other kids whispered cruelly. "Can't even tie her shoes," one boy smirked. "She's probably too dumb," another girl chimed in. "Or maybe she's just poor." Their laughter was light but sharp, like glass splintering in the air. Alexander felt something shift inside him. He could have walked past. He could have pretended not to hear. But something about the way the little girl bit her lip and tried not to cry made his steps slow, then stop. Without a second thought, he crossed the courtyard and knelt down in front of her. "Hi there," he said gently, his voice quiet enough for only her to hear. "Looks like these laces are giving you trouble. Mind if I help?" The girl's eyes darted up, startled. Her gaze met his, wary at first, then softening as she gave a small nod. The courtyard seemed to go silent. Parents watched. Teachers froze mid-conversation. And in the middle of it all, one of the richest men in the country crouched low on the concrete, his expensive suit brushing the ground, carefully looping the frayed strings into neat bows. When he finished, he looked up with a smile. "There," he said, "good as new." "Thank you," she whispered, her voice so faint he almost missed it. She quickly stepped away, vanishing into the crowd before he could ask her name. The incident stayed in Alexander's mind all morning. He delivered his speech flawlessly, speaking about innovation, resilience, and dreaming big. The applause was warm, the compliments plentiful, yet his thoughts kept drifting back to the little girl with the worn shoes and downcast eyes. Later that day, as he prepared to leave, the school's principal approached him. "Mr. Reed, there's someone who'd like to meet you," she said, her tone softer than before. She led him down a quiet hallway to a modest office. There, sitting in a chair too big for her small frame, was the same girl. She looked nervous, clutching a small notebook to her chest. The principal introduced her. "This is Emily. She's one of our brightest students." Alexander knelt slightly so he was eye level with her again. "Hi, Emily. You disappeared earlier before I could say goodbye." Emily's lips trembled. Before she spoke, "I didn't think you'd remember me." "Of course I remember," Alexander said with a smile. "You're the only person who made my morning special." The principal cleared her throat. "Emily's had a difficult time lately. Her mother passed away last year, and her father as well. He's serving overseas. She's been staying with her grandmother, who's doing her best, but things are tight." Alexander felt something heavy settle in his chest. He glanced at Emily's sneakers again, understanding more than before. "Emily," he said softly, "I want you to know that those kids who laughed earlier, they were wrong. You're not less than anyone. In fact, I think you're stronger than most people I know." Emily's eyes shone, but she held back her tears. She opened her notebook, hesitated, then handed it to him. Inside were sketches, intricate designs of buildings, inventions, and even robots. For someone her age, the detail was astonishing. "I want to build things," she said quietly, "like you. But I don't think I can, not with how things are." Alexander closed the notebook gently, looking at her with a mix of admiration and something else, determination. "Emily," he said, "you can build anything you dream of. And I'm going to make sure you have what you need to do it." Over the next months, Alexander's promise became reality. He arranged for Emily to have a scholarship to one of the top STEM programs in the country. He visited her often, bringing books, supplies, and encouragement. Slowly, the shy little girl began to blossom, her laughter returning, her dreams growing bigger. Years later, when Emily graduated with honors and was offered a position at one of the most prestigious engineering firms in the world, Alexander sat proudly in the front row. As she gave her speech, she looked straight at him. "I wouldn't be here," she said, "if someone hadn't stopped to tie my shoelaces one morning. He reminded me that kindness isn't about what you have, it's about what you give." The audience erupted in applause, but Alexander only smiled, remembering the moment years ago when a small act of compassion had connected two lives forever. That day, he realized that success wasn't measured by wealth or titles. It was measured by the lives you touched, the hope you gave, and the belief you inspired. And in his own quiet way, Alexander knew he had found his greatest achievement.